Good evening and welcome to Late Night Review. We talk about what's happening
and what's not.
I'm Jack Overbeck.
And I'm Jamie Dunaway, and here are tonight's top stories. Before we begin, let us just start off by speaking to the people of Pittsburgh and the Tree of Life Synagogue to say that we stand by you, we support you, and we are with you. And we are very sorry that the president was with you today as well.
The bigoted violence that took place in Pittsburgh on Saturday was a horrifying culmination of a week that already showcased the terrorism Trump's rhetoric can inspire. Over the course of this past week, several high-profile liberals, including the Obamas, the Clintons, George Soros, and even Robert De Niro, were targeted in what appeared to be an attempted mail bombing campaign. Shoddily constructed pipe bombs were sent to these figures as well as CNN's headquarters, leading many to conclude that the bomber could have been motivated to target them by the incendiary and hate-filled things Donald Trump has said about them in the past. Right-wing Twitter responded with the theory that these bombs could be part of some false flag operation carried out by Democrats to make Republicans look bad before the midterms. And when authorities finally caught the perpetrator, he's exactly what everyone expected. He's a middle-aged man full of impotent rage who still lives with his mother and operates out of a paranoid alt-right version of the Mystery Machine.
Now, before we continue, you've got to admire the detailing. See, when you buy a van and you need to conceal the evil you do in there, most people tint the windows or hang drapes. This guy did his dirty work behind a fresco of Trump memes. So, fine, his ride doesn't impress. But what about the product? Maybe he's an eccentric bomb-making savant. After all, right-wing auteur Dinesh D'Souza drives this monstrosity around, and look at all the bombs he's made. Thankfully, no, our guy just forgot to put the part of the bomb in that makes it explode.
Last week, President Trump called the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi at the hands of the Saudi government and the lies they've told surrounding the circumstances of his death the worst cover-up in the history of cover-ups. Does that sound familiar? Saying they had a very bad original concept, and while many critics are saying that he's not focusing on the important part, murder, I understand why he's so focused on the cover-up. He's just excited we're finally talking about something he's actually an expert in.
This past Sunday, the city of Austin lifted the mandatory boil water notice, announcing the water is now safe to drink. Said a representative from LaCroix, "Can you ever really be sure?"
This week, in an interview at Manhattan's 92nd Street Y, Hillary Clinton, when asked about a possible 2020 run, gave the stirring response, "I'd like to be president." "Yeah, we'd like that too," said a majority of voters in the 2016 election.
Former Tesla chairman Elon Musk gave an update on his status within the company yesterday, tweeting, quote, "Deleted my Tesla files last week to see what would happen. I'm now the nothing of Tesla." Elon, there's no easy way to say this. That's just what they call a fired person.
After spending years publishing groundbreaking studies detailing new ways to grow back heart cells after cardiac arrest, Dr. Piero Anverso of Harvard Medical School has been accused of scientific malpractice by his own institution as well as Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. The Department of Justice concluded that he falsified data in over 30 studies spanning more than a decade, in addition to defrauding research funds from the National Institutes of Health. So I guess you could say, doctors hate him.
U.S. stocks sank yesterday in response to new tariffs on Chinese goods. With recession fears abounding and the Dow down 900 points, Trump supporters everywhere are beginning to ask, trade war bad?
Well, critics are raving about the newest installment in the Halloween franchise, which serves as a direct sequel to the original 1978 film. Here to talk about the film is the man behind the mask himself, Michael Myers.
Welcome to Late Night Review, Michael. I have to say you're an absolutely terrifying person. So, your new movie is a smash hit. It's being lauded by critics as the best sequel in the franchise.
And the highest grossing film of the entire series.
You must be really happy about that.
Care to comment on that?
Okay, this is getting us nowhere.
Yeah, this was a mistake. Whose idea was this?
I'm sorry, it's no good. I can't breathe in this dang thing. It's just me, Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz!
Thank you, Jack and Kate. It's great to be here.
We booked Michael Myers, not you.
Yeah, no one wants you here, Ted Cruz.
I hear the same thing at my campaign office every day, Jack.
Why are you even in that costume?
Well, let's be honest. I am not the most appealing candidate in this midterm election. The only thing less effective than me as a senator are my lips engaged in fellatio. Yes, Beto O'Rourke has all but destroyed me in the youth demographic. Among them, my views are about as popular as the house giving out Necco wafers on Halloween. So, I have decided to reinvent myself. You know how everyone always says I'm the Zodiac killer? Well, I've decided to embrace the whole serial killer thing. Here's the thing, though, Jack and other person I'm just now realizing is probably not Kate. The Zodiac is old news. But, so I thought, what serial killer right now is super popular? Obviously, Michael Myers with that new Halloween movie out.
Wait, so you're rebranding yourself as literal evil incarnate?
No, Jack, you can't rebrand as something you already are.
So, you're rebranding as a super creepy sociopath whose expression never changes and whom you just can't get rid of?
You can't rebrand yourself as something you already are. Pay attention. I want to say Jason. No. I'm rebranding as something relevant to the present. It's going to be hard, but I think I can do it. Is this working?
No.
Darn. Well, back to serial killing, I guess.
Ted Cruz, everyone? Notorious mob boss Whitey Bulger died in prison today at the age of 89. Whitey was serving 2 life sentences for multiple murders and jumped back into the spotlight recently when he was portrayed on the big screen by Johnny Depp in the movie Black Mass. Depp has not yet been told about Whitey's death, and I'm pretty sure he thinks he's still playing him. President Trump has announced that over 5,000 troops will be sent to the U.S.-Mexico border to stop the Honduran migrant caravan that he has continually called an invasion of this country. And what I would say to that is the same thing Stormy Daniels said when Trump tried to use that word with her. I don't think it's big enough for that. New reports from the White House are suggesting that President Trump is now thinking of using an executive order to end birthright citizenship, or the idea that anyone born on U.S. soil is by that fact automatically granted U.S. citizenship. Trump is quoted as saying, "We're the only country in the world where a person comes in and has a baby, and that baby is a U.S. citizen for 85 years with all those benefits," which is true. People born in Canada don't get U.S. citizenship for 85 years. They get Canadian citizenship for 85 years because Canada also has birthright citizenship. Of course, we're not the only country that does that. Others include the tiny fiefdom of Mexico and the minuscule principality of Brazil, as well as another little-known part of the world you might have heard of called most of the Western Hemisphere. But hey, at least Trump's idea of a lifetime is only 85 years. For Late Night Review, I'm Jack Overbeck. Good night.